Yes, correct. All right now. Bye-bye. Next week is my last week. I've been here at the law school. In August, it will be 23 years. So happy here. Love living here. I'm 65, and my goal was to stay till 66, but I'm a first-time grandma. Luca was born March 20th. And after lots of soul searching, I thought, it's payback time. My mom took care of both my boys after I went back to work, so I really, truly felt compelled to give my son and daughter-in-law time. I told the law school, I'll give you 6 months. So the boss, Victor, being gold, has been good enough to give me an unpaid leave of absence, so I promised that on December 21st, I will know one way or the other whether I can take on this nanny gig full time, or if I just throw in the towel and pay someone to watch the kid for me. Because this scares me more than anything. Anything! Oh, I've loved this place. It's been a great ride. And I've always, pretty much from the beginning, been in the dean's suite. And now everything's changing with the new dean coming in and Dean Gold moving upstairs. And yeah, guys, go ahead in that office. Just knock on the door, start moving them. They're ready for you. No, they've been warned. There's just 2 people in there. No, they know you're coming. Just, oh, no, just go on in. See what I mean? This is my life. This is what I do every day, all day. They'll tell you, they call me the sergeant around here. Some other names too. But if you Google me, you'll find my name most often because of the summer abroad programs, especially China. I ended up going to China 10 years in a row. Who in the world would have thought that I'd end up in China? Thank you, gentlemen. Oh, I know you'll be back. But don't worry, I'll be here. I'm not going anywhere. We started in 1999, and I went from the beginning until 2007, no, was it 08? Beijing, the University of International Business and Economics, in their law school. When we first went, they recommended hotels in the area, or we could stay on campus. I went to the hotel where the students were staying, and it was horrible, nasty. So I knew from the get-go that we're gonna have to change. And here I am trying to find a hotel in Beijing, and I don't speak Chinese. And I find a really lovely one that wasn't that far away from the school. So we get them into that hotel. In the second year, we end up going back there because it was really nice. And then I discovered that the lovely ladies dressed in all the regalia that were there in the lobby, it was not actually a restaurant, but a bordello. And I went, oh my God, I'm from a Jesuit law school, and I've got students staying in a hotel with an on-site bordello. Well, that was interesting. Needless to say, from that point forward, I stayed at the same hotel as the students. Oh, yes, hey, believe it or not, ladies, I'm being interviewed here. Hey, I heard you were one of the people responsible for nominating me for this award. I don't know what for, you tell me. Okay. By the time the 10th year rolled around, I no longer went up to the Great Wall with the kids. I brought a book, sat down at the bottom and waited for it. Costa Rica, same thing, 2000 to 2008. I'd stay for the first 3 or 4 days, once everything was rolling, all set, and I'd come back home. I was taking care of those 2 programs from this office, and I basically did my own thing. But then David Burcham threw me down the hall into my own office with an assistant to do events. All the events on campus as director of events. And then in 2008, David becomes provost of LMU and Victor becomes dean here at the law school. And he asks if I'd be willing to come back to this office and do what I was doing when he was associate dean. And I say, as long as you guarantee me that my salary won't change, I'll be happy to come here. Because at that point, and I gotta tell you, I hated the director role because of all the meetings. Every time you turn around, there's a meeting. I don't have time for meetings. And I was not just doing events, but First Fridays too. Every First Friday, we have a speaker come on campus. And I send out invitations, order the food, be here at 7 a.m., and then we have mass, and after mass, we have a continental breakfast, and then a talk, and then they leave. And we'd start all over again. Can you take that box? Yeah, and the picture. pictures. The loose ones against the wall. Yeah, that's right. Thank you, gentlemen. Very much appreciated. But yeah, I'm gonna throw it all upstairs eventually. Well, I'm good at what I do. I really and truly have a good rapport with the faculty and the staff. And we're very, very open in the Dean's Suite. We talk to each other. We know what's going on. Even though people may not pump you for information, the thought that you might spill something you shouldn't is always there. And so I pretty much try to stay separated. To be good at anything, you have to become part of it. You come in as an individual and don't become a part of where you are. What's the point? Oh, hi, sweetie. Yes, here's the candy. See, this is how I bribe people. I'm Croatian. In Croatia, you don't have anybody in without offering food. My family, when we came to California, we discovered a Croatian church in downtown LA, St. Anthony's. And I've been a member of that church, let's see, well, I was 11 when we got here. I became a part of the folk dance group, and then I also took on teaching. That's where I learned how to speak Croatian again. Because when we came to this country, my dad pretty much said, no Croatian in the house. But if your tongue doesn't use the language, it loses it. So my dad would take us to Croatian school on Friday nights at St. Anthony's. And it's been a couple of years since I've taken sacrament there, but they still make me work. We have a parish center that was built 20 years ago. But before, we had a very old hall and it felt more warm. But this hall is huge. It's got a ballroom that can hold 400 people. The reception area can seat 100 people for a sit-down dinner. So they needed someone to manage it, show the place, schedule events on a volunteer basis. It's a lot of work. In 2004, I had 64 events listed. 64 events! Like this. Funeral, mass, and luncheon. Deacons and wives dinner. Baby shower, mass, meeting, luncheon, fundraiser, party, concert, wedding ceremony, funeral mass and wake, wedding ceremony, memorial mass, Croatia versus Norway sponsored viewing for soccer club. And this is just a few months. So 7 months ago, I gave them my resignation saying, I can't do this anymore. Unfortunately, I'm still doing it. They haven't managed to find anyone, but they haven't really looked for anyone, of course. And I keep telling them, you gotta pay somebody. Nobody will do this for free. But this is what I do. I've always needed to help people, and it's a sickness. Quite honestly, my life would have been so much better if I weren't like this, but I am. So I kind of embrace it. What else can you do? I got married when I was 24 to my first husband. And that lasted all of, not even 3 years. Gotta give my dad credit. He told me as he's walking me down the aisle, don't do this. You don't have to do this. And I didn't have the guts to stop it because there were 350 people waiting for the wedding. And so, being very foolish, very naive, I ended up getting pregnant on my honeymoon. By the time, oh, hello there. Are you meeting with, you're meeting with Deb. Deb, company! So, by the time my son David turned 1, I ended up breaking it off. We moved into a house in Southgate, and I pretty much raised him for the first 7 years of his life on my own. Years after I booted my husband out, I found out that he had remarried a woman up in Reading. Now, what made me feel good about this was, this woman was older than him, Italian, had her own bail bonds business. Obviously, he was able to take her in as well as he was able to take me in, so he could fool a bail bonds woman. I was feeling so much better. I can get the cannot have his neck. And then my second husband, I met him through friends. We were married for 15 years. And of those 15 years, maybe 8 of them were good. He had a gambling addiction, which I did not know, and his friends did not know. He hid it very well. He stopped for 8 years, but it finally started up again, and the boys and I moved out into an apartment. And of course, my youngest, within no time at all, forgot why we left. He was missing his home, his friends. So my husband came over and begged me to come home. I said, okay, on one condition. I will stay with you as long as you're willing to get help. And I went back. It lasted for 30 days. It took 6 months to get him to move out. And then Matthew gets accepted into Loyola High School, so I have a choice. I just love these choices life throws at you. I could either keep the house or I could put my son to private Catholic school. Can't do both, not on a single salary. So we ended up selling the house and got Matthew through Loyola. And then he gets an LMU, and in his second year, I'm in China with the program, and I get an email from him saying, Mom, Dad's in the hospital. He'd become diabetic. Had a wound on his leg, it wasn't healing. So I came home, I found an assisted living facility for him until, well, they transport them once a week to grocery stores, and he'd buy a bottle of alcohol, a bottle of wine, he'd drink till he passed out. The last time this happened, Matthew called me and said, Mom, they called me again. I think it's pretty bad. I said, I'll meet you at the hospital. Well, Matthew got there first. My husband didn't have a DNR. The machines were keeping him alive. And Matthew was there. Matthew had to make the decision. Matthew. He was 21. It's been a tough road. Oh, I'm sorry, ladies. I'm being interviewed here. Yeah! I ended up getting nominated for something, some kind of award from the Sisters of St. Joseph of Orange. But see, I should have been a nun. Yeah, so taking care of people in sickness. I take after my dad and my uncle. After the Second World War, Yugoslavia was closing its border, communist country. The two of them escaped to a refugee camp in Austria. They had an aunt living in Pittsburgh, and she sponsored the two of them and brought them to the US legally. In 2 years, my mom was able to get us permission to leave the country. It was Christmas of '58. I was 7 and a half when we came. My dad was working at a steel mill in Lackawanna, New York. Remember, we come from a village in Croatia where the air was clean, everything was clean. And then both my brother and I ended up testing positive for TB in New York. So my dad ended up moving us to California, and basically we stayed in Southern California all this time. From my father and his brother, we just kind of expanded. In this picture, that is all our family, the ones in California. Oh, Bria, I know, isn't it something? I'm a hidden hero, who knew? Don't let my halo blind you. That's Bria Clark. She's going to be one of the deans. The woman is amazing. She's going to be very good at her job. And Billy, he'll be more than able to take over for me. Nobody's indispensable. I'm putting together a Bible of stuff I do so you'll know what I'm talking about. And I said, call me, email me. I will be happy to take any calls day or night. It's sad, but it's true. Me and the baby. Let's hope I don't do too much damage. I'm looking forward to the day when I can take him places and talk to him and play games with him and do that fun stuff. I'm much better at communicating with people. Now, are you sure you don't want something to eat? Why don't you take the pretzels? No, I'm going ahead. Take them. Take them all. I would like you to tell us how the brand new gig is going. Is Luca here? He's